Critical County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Break Drive. I think I might have a death.
Person of interest will be John Mello.
Why are you giving them a person of interest?
In an attempt to catch Christina in the act, John began following her.
Huh?
It read, "We are out of the country, phone not working. Be advised, we won't be able to fly back for Friday exchange. Sorry, more later." So
I'm understanding now. So he pulled her out of school, don't know, and she don't know where the daughter is, and she's trying to find her.
At that exact moment, a random person can be seen entering the front door of Christina's house.
Hey man, how'd you get in the house?
Let me know how the sound is. Let me know how the sound
Come
is.
home right now. Emergency. Come home. Just come home. When I walked in, there was a smell, like a pesticide smell.
Yep.
And I walked in, and I didn't see anything on. I saw like a flower rose tore up. And then I walked in the living room, and she's laying there on her back. There's a lot of blood.
This is 65-year-old Bradley Post.
He said he walked in. Wait. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. They finished it.
41-year-old Christina Parcell, lying on her living room floor in a pool of her own blood. He immediately dialed 911.
Critical County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Break Drive. I think I might have a death. Walked in like
You think you might have a
She wouldn't
death?
answer my call. It was a very weird smell. And I
Not gonna lie, chat. If somebody's dead in my shit, I'm gonna know. I'm gonna know. He thinks he might have a death. It's a bunch of blood. She's on her back. She's dead.
You need to leave.
get her to come around. I told her if I ever, what should I do?
Is she breathing?
No.
And we're gonna start
Ain't no way
CPR,
she
sir.
is.
Okay, I think she's gone.
You think she's gone?
Yeah. It's like somebody might have shot in the back. I don't know. I don't know.
Somebody has shot her? Okay. All right.
No.
And tell me why you think she's dead.
So she won't respond. Eyes open.
Eyes are open? All right.
There's a lot of blood.
And a lot of blood. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cover her now.
I'm sorry. Say it again.
Get somebody here now.
I've got some people coming, sir. I have everybody coming.
Brad then told the dispatcher he was going to hang up the phone to inform Christina's family of the emergency. He called Christina's sister, Tina Parcell, who was also the owner of the house. She was working at the time, so he left her this voicemail.
Tina, this is Brad. You need to call me quick. There's a problem with Christina at the house.
There's a problem.
Call me now.
You should have just told her, bro. Okay, I ain't gonna lie. You probably wouldn't want to tell somebody that their sibling is dead at work. Because then you'd probably leave, quit, do something. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna lie. But you still probably want to let it be known there's an issue. You probably should leave work. Your sister is dead.
Minutes later, Deputy Chris Robinson from the Greenville County Sheriff's Office arrived at the scene and was met by Brad standing in the driveway. Tina had just returned Brad's call, so he rushed her off the phone to help the officers.
Hey man, how'd you get in the house?
You got to come home right now. Emergency. Come home. Just come home. She went for a job interview. Okay. She left and came back. I called her, texted her twice. Yeah, just from like 9 o'clock. I got her on a tracker.
Yeah.
She didn't respond, so I went to the door. No response. So the back door is always unlocked.
Huh?
So I walked around the back door.
The back door is always unlocked? Why?
And there was a smell, like a pesticide smell.
Yeah.
And I walked in, and I didn't see anything on. I saw like a flower
Not trying to be no
rose tore up.
asshole, bro.
And I walked in the living room, and she's
you're not making
laying
no
there on her back.
sense.
There's a lot of blood.
Okay. Do you live here?
I don't know.
You stay here
I don't
occasionally?
even know which one.
Okay.
I'm with her most days.
All right, do me a favor, just stand right here. You want to help me clear it real quick? Sheriff's office.
The deputies entered through the back door of the residence and immediately noticed the smell of harsh chemicals
This nigga said sheriff's office, and he knows the person in here is dead.
Brad was talking about.
I do smell something. All right, you see what we got? There is a smell in here. You want to hold right, and I'll clear this on the left.
Before checking on Christina, they cleared the house of any threats.
Right.
Yes, ma'am, we're clearing the house.
But he was in the house, right?
Sheriff's office. Take one, I'll take the other. Sheriff's office.
With no apparent danger inside the house, they headed to the living room to evaluate
How would there be
Christina's
danger if he
condition.
found her
She was
inside dead?
completely unresponsive. Next to her body, there were roses and rose petals scattered on the floor. But due to the overwhelming
bonded.
stench, the officers decided to wait for EMS outside before processing the scene any further.
Let's get out of here.
Nigga said I crept up in a boom.
Back outside, Brad was just wrapping up another phone call with Tina.
Anyway, I gotta go, Tina. Get home as soon as you can. It's the owner of the house. Her sister owns it. Is she dead?
As far as I can tell, I'm not even. Friend?
My fiance,
Okay. What's her name?
Christina Lorraine Parcell. Son of a... young daughter's 9.
As EMS arrived, the deputy asked Brad if he knew of anybody who would want to harm Christina.
You think he did it?
There's been a custody battle. He's a threatener. He's a thug. I'm telling you, person of interest will be John Mello.
Why are you giving them a person of interest? GG. Now
The
you're a
that
person of
Brad
interest.
just mentioned, John Mello, is Christina's ex-husband. Apparently, Christina and John had been fighting for the permanent custody of their daughter, Aida, and things had gotten ugly.
Tell me about this other dude.
John and Christina had started dating back in 2009, and Christina's family quickly noticed a change in her behavior. The next year, in 2010, she sent out this letter to her family. Dear Mommy, Daddy, and Tina, I'm severing the ties of discontent and unhappiness that have haunted my life. Please leave me to my peace and my newfound life. Please do not visit my home. Do not call or email. And most importantly, please don't worry. She then cut off all contact with her family for 4 years.
Chat's lagging.
She suddenly got back in touch with her sister. She told her that she had just given birth to Aida and was in the process of divorcing John, the custody battle that Brad mentioned earlier. In court, Christina said that she was afraid of John having primary custody due to his short fuse and explosive anger. But John said the opposite. He insisted that Christina shouldn't have custody due to her erratic behavior.
Erratic behavior. Okay, it's not erratic, is it?
Is this nigga serious?
Consistent presence and inability to financially support Aida by herself. In 2016, the court made their decision. John gained sole custody of Aida, while Christina was limited to scheduled visitations.
Wow.
But the custody battle didn't end there. In the following months, John contacted the police and social services multiple times, accusing Christina of drug use and misconduct during these visitations.
Fuck.
The Greenville County Sheriff's Office launched an investigation and found no evidence to support these claims. In an attempt to catch Christina in the act, John began following her. This backfired, and he was charged and arrested for stalking. Even after being charged, his obsessive behavior continued, and in 2018, John was charged again, this time with harassment. However, both of these charges were ultimately dropped, likely a result of the accusations being hearsay. Things seemed to stabilize over the next 2 years. John remained as primary guardian of Aida, while Christina was entitled to weekend visitations. But suddenly, on October 7th, 2020, Christina received a distressing email from John. It read, "We are out of the country, phone not working. Be advised, we won't be able to fly back for Friday exchange. Sorry, more later." Over the next few days, Christina did everything in her power to figure out where John had taken their daughter. She went to Aida's school, East North Street Academy, and learned that John had withdrawn her from the Greenville County School System. So, she sent an email to anything we can about where our daughter is and how she is doing. I'm scared and I miss
Okay. I'm putting two and two together. That's my bad, bro.
so much.
So I'm understanding now. So he pulled her out of school, don't know, and she don't know where the daughter is, and she trying to find her.
When am I going to be able to see her? Please. 3 days later, John responded saying, I am not ignoring you, just super busy. Please do not bother people about us. She is doing great. She is happy and healthy.
Cap.
It's just a new setting. That's all. New rules. Thanks. Stay well.
Oh, nah,
While
he
she continued
tripping.
looking for clues about their whereabouts, John suddenly updated his cover photo on Facebook. In the photo, a random woman had her arm around Aida, and they were posing in front of an old building. Christina zoomed in on a banner in the background and realized that it had Italian. After doing some more
Italian.
digging, she found out that this building was in Rovigo, Italy. Christina contacted several agencies, including the Greenville County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, and the U.S. State Department. They were able to confirm that Aida was safe and well, but it was ultimately determined that John had violated Christina's visitation rights.
Yeah?
In May of 2021, Christina brought Aida back to South Carolina, while John remained in Italy. 3 months later, in August of that same year, all of Christina's neighbors received envelopes in the mail. The envelopes contained several items suggesting that Christina was leading a double life as an escort, operating under the pseudonym Caroline Warren. Christina was certain that John was responsible for this. However, he was still in Italy at the time, and the two locations printed on the envelopes were Greenville, South Carolina, and Knoxville, Tennessee.
What the fuck?
Perhaps the person who mailed these packages was the same person who brutally attacked Christina. While the deputies questioned Brad, the EMS confirmed that Christina had died. She hadn't been shot as Brad initially
So who the fuck is Brad? Besides her fiance, who the fuck is this nigga?
thought, but had actually been stabbed dozens of times. Brad was then asked to provide a timeline of events leading up to the discovery of Christina's body.
And when was the last time you spoke with her?
Hold on, I'll tell you exactly. Last time I talked to her was 8:15 a.m. Outgoing call 10 minutes. She was on her way to a job interview.
After Christina went in for her interview, a couple of hours passed and Brad didn't get an update on how it went. He tried to call her, but she didn't answer. So he decided to go to her house to see if she was home.
Normally when she leaves somewhere, she'll send me a text or something on my way back.
Oh, wait. So they don't even live together.
Do you live here?
No.
Okay.
I didn't hear from her. But at this point, I'm getting worried about where we are. I really don't know if I want to comment more. I want to help you, but if this is what I think it is,
That's fine.
The deputies respected Brad's wishes and the questioning stopped there. But he remained on the suspect list while they continued their investigation. Lead detective Sergeant Jared Sparkman wanted to confirm Christina's timeline, so they began gathering surveillance footage along her route that morning. At 8:34 a.m., Christina was captured entering the Valley Walk Animal Hospital to attend a vet technician job interview. The interview seemed to go smoothly and lasted about 10 minutes. Christina then left the clinic and headed home. At 9:07 a.m., she was captured arriving home by a Ring doorbell camera 3 doors down. The most crucial footage the detectives found was from the Ring camera directly across the street from Christina's house. At 9:15 a.m., the Ring camera is activated by a vehicle passing by. At that exact moment, a random person can be seen entering the front door of Christina's house. This door leads directly into the living room, where her body was discovered. From this footage, the detectives determined that the person entering the home was a white male with a slim stature, wearing a black bag, a gray sweatshirt, and black pants.
You can't see that nigga at all. You can't see shit.
Description in mind, they continued searching around the neighborhood for more footage of the suspect. They were able to find footage of someone with the same build, on a bike, riding away from the scene at exactly 9:27
Nah, I don't know about.
7 a.m., 12 minutes after the suspect entered Christina's house. In this footage, the individual was wearing a black sweatshirt, black pants, and a face mask. The suspect likely got blood all over their clothes while committing the crime. So although the biker was wearing a different sweatshirt than the person who entered the home, the detectives had a feeling that this was their guy. Then, 1 minute later, the same biker can be seen on another Ring camera. His slim stature is even more apparent. As the detectives
I ain't
got
gonna lie,
to know
that's a motherfucking video, right?
mysterious suspect. They wondered if he was
They
somehow...
can't, nigga, this nigga's so dumb. He should have had a fat ass mask on or something, bro. You got, bro. I ain't gonna, bro. It's mad Ring cameras in this neighborhood.
Connected to John. They discovered that John still had a property in Greenville County that somebody named Michael Manigault was employed to maintain. So they tracked down Michael and brought him in for questioning. They told him that they were looking into the death of Christina Parcell, and Michael responded by saying that his coworker told him all about her.
Tell me again how you heard about Christina. A mutual friend of me and John, Zach. He said about a week and a half ago that Christina didn't farm after that.
Zach Hughes, GG. That nigga gave, bro, once they give a name, it's over with, bro. That nigga said his full gov. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, you're caught.
The man he's referring to is 28-year-old Zachary.
That's the nigga.
And
Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wigger.
Pianist. Back in 2021, right after Christina took Aida from Italy back to the United States, Zach went to Italy himself to visit John for 3 to 4 weeks.
Dumbass.
The two became closer than ever during this trip, and when Zach flew back to Greenville, he began helping with John's property maintenance.
How does Zachary get around? You said old truck or something. Yeah, old truck. He drives. He picks me up once in a while.
The detectives searched through South Carolina vehicle records and learned that Zach's truck was a gold Ford pickup. It turns out that on the day after Christina's death, an automatic license plate reader in downtown Greenville snapped a photo of Zach's gold truck. In the bed of the
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
truck was the same black...
This nigga can't even storm, bro. Nigga, you're caught.
Bike from the Ring camera footage.
I'm
The
not gonna
detectives
lie.
quickly obtained a search warrant for Zach's residence and went there with a team of deputies to execute him. When they
GG, my
arrived,
nigga.
they ordered Zach to come out with his hands up, and he calmly obliged.
Anybody else in the house?
Yes, sir.
They escorted Zach to the back of a police cruiser, where he sat patiently while the search took place.
Yeah, you
Inside the home, they found a cardboard box containing a plethora of knives.
Damn!
Any one of these could have been the murder weapon, but
Right.
every one of them was squeaky clean at this point. There was also a detached garage where they found the getaway bike.
This nigga kept the bike.
These two pieces of evidence alone didn't justify an arrest. So after taking a photo of Zach
Really?
and collecting his phone and DNA, he was free to go. Getting into Zach's phone proved to be a difficult task because it had been locked with military-grade encryption software.
Then you should have known right then and there that he did the shit. If he was black, the nigga would have been done. Done.
They did eventually access it, but only partially. They were able to
See?
salvage bits of data, including 1,769 scrambled WhatsApp
Holy
messages
fuck.
between him and John. In April of 2021, one text message from John to Zach said, "Harassed of her 5-2. We can get the 864 out 3.
Oh, they use
Rearranged.
code.
The text provides Christina's phone number and says, "We can harass the shit out of her." The
Damn.
next message from John said,
They
"Buy a
speak-
cheap dollar store burner phone." The day before the killing, the two had a
Chad, they using this is some dead ass like, bro. You only see this shit in the shows. Boy, if you don't get
phone call that lasted over 2 hours. And the
Damn!
last text exchange they ever had was on the day Christina was killed.
were they fucking 2 hours is crazy.
John texted Zach, "How did that music research go?" Zach replied, "Good, I'll tell you over the phone." The detectives believed that music research was code for killing
yeah,
Christina.
right.
Later that afternoon, John and Zach had a phone call for 1 hour and 20 minutes. As for Zach's DNA, the crime lab compared it to the DNA found under Christina's fingernails. It was a match. With this new evidence, authorities rushed to Zach's house once again to arrest him. Still in his fancy suit, they brought him down to the station and into the interrogation room for questioning. However, just as they were about to begin, Zach's defense attorney advised him not to speak to the detectives. For now, he was taken to the Greenville County Detention Center and placed behind bars. He was charged with murder, possession of a weapon during the commission of a violent crime, harassment, conspiracy, and first...
Last year I interviewed Zachary Hughes about a special Beethoven Sonata series he was working to perform. Now the Greenville County Sheriff says Hughes is behind bars for a brutal, violent murder.
But I think it was more than obvious that he intended to kill her. And he went over there for that reason. And talking about the murder itself, it was very
Like, who the fuck does that?
Sure. We don't know why. We don't know what his motive really was.
Zach's bond hearing took place on April 6th, 2022. His friends and family claimed that he was truly a good person, and since he was innocent until proven guilty, bond should be granted.
Zach lived with us for over 2 years. We talked with him every day.
Okay, but money don't, nigga. If you, I can't stand niggas like you, old ass nigga. If you was offered a large amount of money to try to kill somebody that's apparently easy to kill, you would probably do it at your big age.
Recruited to teach online, providing musical teaching to underprivileged children. This is the character of the man that we're talking about here today.
Never have I ever seen any tendency to violence in my son. He was a happy, joyful, energetic child, giving.
When was the last time y'all spoke to bro before this even occurred? Because he went to Italy. Did y'all know he went to Italy?
Tender-hearted, kind, patient. Zach doing something like this.
Oh shit. Appreciate that, my boy.
The efforts
bro,
from
you
Zach's
tough,
loved ones
gang. I ain't
were
gonna lie.
ineffective. The judge
Wait,
believed
Jimmy, I
that
was just gonna
Zach's
say, wait a
DNA
minute.
being under Christina's fingernails was enough to consider him a danger to the community.
Wait, hold on. I came back to this nigga saying, wait, what happened to the 100 I had? Am I tweaking? Well, chat, guess it's back to motherfucking. Let me go to. I knew I wasn't tweaking though. That's okay though, bro. I got proof of everything. I was already at 100, bro. Them niggas just fucked me over. Get kicked, bro. I ain't gonna lie. Count y'all days, nigga. Cause that's embarrassing as fuck, nigga. Now I have to go back to 100. Back to it. They found this nigga like the nigga DNA under his fingernails.
Ineffective.
And she just, bro, she crying and shit. Look, you look dumb.
The judge believed that Zach's DNA being under
Yeah, this shit finna blow me, Chad.
was enough to consider him a danger to the community.
I'm gonna deny bond.
Yeah.
Everything I've heard today. All right. Thank you very much.
Zach remained behind bars leading up to his trial, which began on February 11th, 2025.
Oh shit.
The prosecution.
Chat, That was this year.
Prosecution kicked things off with a 7-minute opening statement.
Damn!
That Zach had injected himself into the custody battle between Christina and his good friend John. They didn't
Okay, exactly.
explain much further because they believed that the evidence would speak for itself.
You're going to find beyond a reasonable doubt, and the evidence will show that Zach Hughes is a cold-blooded killer.
They really be doing this? I be seeing this shit in the goddamn movies and TV shows and shit, but damn. Man, shut your. So I'm guessing in the last, what's that, 12 minutes, they're gonna show like what was the motive? It's gotta be money. It's gotta be money. It's always money.
He committed murder. Committed harassment and committed burglary first. Thank you. Murder.
Typically, this is when the defense would present their opening statement. However, they decided to hold off until the prosecution rested their case because they had something up their sleeve. The prosecution introduced several witnesses who were present at the scene, including medical examiner Claire Rose, who inspected Christina's injuries.
They had a nigga in a jumpsuit. Fuck was the nigga in the jumpsuit?
Mark of significance.
How the fuck is a prisoner a witness?
Report in your findings.
So I found that there were 35 suspects.
They also brought Tina Parcell to the stand to describe
35?
the tumultuous custody battle between Christina and John, illustrating just how ugly things had gotten between them. Family law attorney Vanessa Cormelo, who represented Aida during the custody dispute, said she believed John would have done anything to keep Christina separated from Aida.
So, where was your antennas when she wanted that motherfucking kid back? Bro, she had to go do it herself. She had to call the FBI. Bro, she had to call all them niggas just to go get her kid back.
What findings did you make as to the lengths that Mr. Mello would go to get custody?
You just happy to be here. Get your...
He was very clear that there was nothing off limits. He was, like I said, threatening, harassing, intimidating, hundreds and hundreds of emails. This was the worst case I've ever worked on. I think in May of 2021, I brought a motion to the court asking for a psychological evaluation of him.
After 31 witness and expert testimonies, the prosecution rested their case. It was finally the defense's turn to present their opening statement, and they had some unexpected news for the jury.
Okay.
Zach is going to testify because Zach has been waiting for this opportunity to tell a group of people like you what really happened, which is that he took the life of Christina Parcell, and crucially, he's been waiting and wanting to tell you why. So what is murder? Murder is the killing of somebody with malice aforethought. And what is malice? It is the intentional doing of a wrongful act without just cause or excuse. And I want you to think about those words, that definition, as you listen to the testimony that you're about to hear in this case. In this case, you were going to hear that the why was not jealousy or greed.
So there was still a why, which means you had a motive, bitch ass nigga. Your big ass ball spot, bitch ass nigga.
Or a crime of passion or some other emotion. You're going to hear that this was done for a just cause. And that's not malice, and that's not murder. Thank you.
During Zach's testimony, he admitted to sending out the parcels that implied Christina was an escort. He also described killing Christina in complete, chilling detail.
I laid my bike down in the driveway. I took a bunch of roses, and I walked up to the door, and I rang the doorbell. And I handed her the roses. And I took the revolver out of the box, and I pointed it at her, and I told her to be quiet and to go back into the house. When I went to strike her with the gun, my hand didn't really do what I was trying to tell it to. I was hesitating, and she began to try to fight back.
No, she didn't.
And during this period of time, the roses had dropped.
And even if she did, there's nothing wrong with that, nigga. You're on my property with the gun, and you're in my face. Like, what are you talking about right now?
And stems had scattered.
It's that stupid shit.
So I pulled out the knife. All I could do was try to overcome this resistance I had towards doing this thing. I don't remember how many times I struck her. I just remember her when she stopped struggling.
Oh,
I looked in the mirror before I left to make sure everything was in order, and I saw that she had scratched my face. And of course I realized that this could leave DNA. So I used the paint thinner to try to clean her hands. I took off my outer shirt. I believe that I did it for the right reason. I don't say this lightly, but my oldest sister, Grace, was the most evil human being I've ever met in my life. I would describe her without reservation as an affectionless psychopath. She was just an incredibly intelligent person and incredibly evil. And having met someone like that, it made me able to understand that people like this exist. If you trust them, you are only ever going to get hurt by them again.
Zach went on to explain that while hanging out with John, John told him about the custody battle and described the type of person that Christina was.
Point by point, everything he described about Christina Parcell was exactly the same as my sister Grace.
Both John and Zach were on the same page. Christina was a danger.
Nobody even knows your sister Grace. Nobody knows who this is, bro. This doesn't have anything to do with your sister.
John then asked Zach if he would
try
kill
to say
Christina
anything
for
to get out of that bitch.
$5,000. Zach immediately and unequivocally declined this offer, so John raised it to $10,000.
I told him the only way I would ever consider taking action like this is if I was absolutely convinced that his daughter was not only in danger, but that the only way to rescue her from that danger would be to take Christina Parcell's life.
Oh wow, I am disgusted.
How though?
As the months passed, John kept Zach updated on the custody dispute and how Aida was doing. Eventually, Zach learned a twisted secret behind Christina and Aida's relationship and felt that he had to do something about it. He first sent out the envelopes, but essentially nothing came of that, so he resorted to killing Christina.
As soon as I left
So he sent the envelopes and killed her. Like, nigga, you're dumb.
Alice, I felt the most enormous wave of relief wash over me because I knew from that moment on Aida would be safe.
Come look at this. This is a bad testimony, bro. You killing the mother of the child. The only thing they could do is give the custody back to the father, which is still in Italy. She has no mom, nigga. You're dumb.
Aida would be safe from that her mother was perpetrating on her, and there is proof to that the state is hiding from you.
See, nobody's even, they getting loud.
This may seem like accusation, but there is some vital context that might make you think,
okay, honestly, it could be true, but in this situation, you can't even go to that. Like, you're going to jail.
At the beginning of this investigation, Brad allowed the detectives to search his phone so they could rule him out. What they ended up discovering was something they never would have expected. The contents of Brad's phone indicated that he and Christina weren't just physically abusive, they were abusive in other ways as well. Brad received 7 charges related to these findings. Zach claims that he knew about Christina and Brad's dark secrets, and that he killed Christina in order to protect Aida. But it's important to note 2 things. The first is that the Greenville County Sheriff's Office found no evidence that Zach knew about these secrets before killing Christina.
I'm not okay, I obviously knew Brad had something going on. Yeah, Brad was tripping. But what?
But it's important to note 2 things. The first is that the Greenville County Sheriff's Office found no evidence that Zach knew about these secrets before killing Christina. So they claimed that there was no way this could have been the motive. The second thing to note is that Brad is still awaiting trial for his charges, so his crimes are technically just allegations. This is why Zach was not allowed to reference them during his testimony, and why the jury was instructed not to consider Zach's comments. After Zach's unwelcome comments, the judge ruled to hold Zach in contempt and gave him 6 months jail time for his outbursts in court. They wrapped up for the day, and that same afternoon, John, who had come back to Greenville following Christina's death, was arrested at his home for soliciting.
This nigga came back. You are, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. That nigga over there, talking about gave him 6 months jail time. Are y'all dumb? This is what I'm saying. If he was, it would have been so different.
Christina's murder. At his bond hearing, Tina had the opportunity to speak to John directly. The tone in her voice can be described with 2 words: pure hatred.
You did this to your family. Your child has to know that you did this to her family.
John was initially denied bond,
Gotcha,
but a
bitch.
circuit court hearing was scheduled to determine whether he would be granted a bond or be held in jail until his trial.
What is up with giving these white men bond? Why don't this nigga get life? He should be getting life. He the one who called a hit on his ex that he had a kid with. Why isn't this nigga getting life? Why isn't the other nigga getting life for killing her? The system is so fucked, bro. All of y'all niggas should be getting life. You took one.
It was the prosecution's turn to cross-examine Zach. They didn't want Zach to have another opportunity to say things that the jury wasn't supposed to hear. So they decided to ask Zach just one question.
Mr. Hughes, when you dragged Christina Parcell across the floor of the front room where you killed her, did you drag her by her arm or by her ankle?
I don't remember for certain, but I think by the ankle.
That's all the questions I need to ask, Your Honor.
During closing arguments, the prosecution claimed that Zach was lying to himself when he said his actions weren't malicious. The defense drilled in the notion that
I'm gonna
even
have
though
to
Zach
delete that
admitted
and
to killing
repost
Christina,
it, bro.
that
Like,
does
why
not
does it
mean
only
he
have
is
7
guilty of
views?
murder. They said that he had zero hate in his heart and only killed her as a last resort to save Aida.
Does a person who kills another person with the intent to save an innocent child have evil in their heart? I would suggest to you that your common sense would tell you no. And that person who killed another to save an innocent child is not a murderer. I would ask that you return a not guilty.
It was now time for jury deliberations, and after less than
Your common sense to save an innocent child.
I'm not. Why do they keep saying that? He killed someone to save an innocent child. What was she doing to this child? The only way that she could have, if this child was about to die and he came in here to kill her, guilty.
It was now time for jury deliberations, and after less than 3 hours, they had their verdict.
As to the charge of
Guilty
murder,
as fuck.
see the jury find the defendant guilty.
Following
Take
the
your
verdict,
ass to
Zach
jail.
seemed to hold back tears as his father gave an impact statement.
My son, he has such a strong moral compass and a desire for the truth.
Are you sure about that?
That sometimes he actually hurts himself. He would quote Edmund Burke on this. The only thing necessary for evil to prosper is for good men to do nothing. I love my son. I'm proud of my son. Thank you, Your Honor.
Zach was also given an opportunity to speak, but chose not to. The judge then handed down his sentence.
Zachary David Hughes, indictment for murder. You're to be committed to the State Department of Corrections for life.
Zachary Hughes is currently serving his sentence at the Cleveland Correctional Institution in South.
Just as I thought, the nigga's getting life.
John Mello is currently in custody and has not entered a formal plea to his charges. And as for Bradley Post, he is currently being held at the Greenville County Detention Center, awaiting his trial.
I'm not gonna lie, that's a little fucked up. That was that man. I mean, they had altercations, but they weren't. Wow, that man in jail.